The return of Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 38. It happened. Cody Rhodes has returned to WWE in glorious fashion. It happened. This is wild. Cody Rhodes returns to WWE WrestleMania 38. The results of Stand and Deliver. And what happened between Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin. All that and more. Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. We are going to be reviewing WrestleMania Night 1. Stay tuned, guys. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. I am your host, Saheem the Dream. When you guys get the opportunity, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you guys are catching us on YouTube, do that so. And also, if you guys are catching us on Facebook Live, give me a thumbs up. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Comment and come and talk WrestleMania with your boy, Saheem the Dream. WrestleMania 38, Night 1. Let's talk about it. This is wild. This is wild. Cody Rhodes has returned. The prodigal son has returned. The rumors were true. There was some doubt. Like I said, I believe it when I see it. It was one of those moments where, it seemed very far-fetched, but with Vince McMahon, never say never. For some reason, Vince has a charm about him or has a way about him. Or I can't even say Vince. It's how the company's being groomed. There's other people who are open to, returns and that work with Vince that they don't close the door. They have open possibilities. Kurt Angle said he would never return. It looked like Cody would never return. CM Punk is the only person at this point that looks like he would never return. Jericho even said that there's a possibility you will see him back in WWE again. But right now, he's working with AEW. But Cody returned. And it seemed far-fetched. At that moment, when he was in AEW and he was working what he was, working, his angles and working with Tony Khan and building that company, I was just like, it's them trying to, he's building a rival to WWE, and that's what it is, and that's what's happening. And it's crazy, man. Like, to see him actually come back, but it's great. It builds so much more tension, so much more heat behind that person. Facebook user, I'm not sure if it's Sean. I can't see your name, but it says sometimes you got to leave and show somebody your worth. That is absolutely true. Sometimes even at jobs you work and places you go where people don't really recognize your value and appreciate your talent, your skill, what you can contribute or what you have been contributing to the vision of the company. You have to leave and show your worth and your value outside those places. And Cody has done that. Cody has solidified himself in a capacity of being someone to be recognized. with building a company to rival, to potentially rival WWE in the future. So funny because even just talking about just it's funny because even thinking about what Cody did is very similar to the capacity of what Triple H was able to do with NXT. Triple H got a lot of heat for being who he was as a heel, and or just marrying the boss's daughter, I should say. And when he goes to NXT and he is developing NXT and developing all these amazing matches and amazing pay-per-views and helping his talent cultivate to what they are, and to the point where the brand itself was outperforming, the development brand of NXT was outperforming, Raw and SmackDown, the top brands. It was impeccable. It was amazing, to the point that Vince says, I gotta get involved, and put his stamp on it, which wasn't necessary, but it goes to show the value of that wrestling mind in Triple H, and again, it goes to show, and I say that in parallel to Cody, it goes to show the great wrestling mind, because even Cody, when he was in AEW, he took his jab at Triple H by destroying the throne at a pay-per-view. I think the first pay-per-view was all out, our second pay-per-view. And, he did do a sledgehammer at a throne that was created like Triple H's throne, I believe, at one of the WrestleManias. And when he did that, it was like, it's so weird because the same person that he's taking that jab at is the same person he is very much like, in the sense that these guys are like great wrestling minds, but leaders, nurturers, developers. These guys are great creatives. They have an ability that very few have. And, again, it's great to see him back. Cody Rhodes has returned to WrestleMania, had a great match with Seth Rollins. It started out a little slow because you could tell like they would, Cody was, it was weird. You could tell Cody felt a little it's like when Cody returned, he knew it was almost like Cody was walking into something that he knew was going to be strange and different, but he knew he would be a bit out of place because of what he had done outside. But that's not something to, again, make Cody feel or put Cody in a place where he should feel isolated or feel out of place for. He did what he was supposed to do as a man, and that was make a way for himself after leaving a company that was providing, a way for him. So he has to go and make a way for himself, and that's what he did. He made a way for himself, but not just for himself, but for other people. And I can't say it was all Cody's idea, but Cody was a part of that grand scheme of things. So it was great to see Cody back. And again, he made a way for himself and others. And in that place of him making that way, again, there was nothing for WWE to be mad about, really. It's really just to look at, because if anything, WWE had a part in that. They had a part in Cody being able to have the wrestling mind that he has. He was around, in a group with Randy Orton, and Randy Orton was mentored by Triple H, so he was around people who, had some level of previous wisdoms of knowledge on how to be a great performer and understand how the business works. And he took that leap of faith, and it worked. And so again, WWE had a lot to do with Cody creating AEW. Again, we spoke about this in the group before. And again, WWE has created their own monsters. A lot of the performers that they are putting on these platforms and then letting go, they could be a monster somewhere else. You may not know who you let go and what they do outside of WWE that could potentially hurt WWE or, create some level of competition that is necessarily wanted or unwanted. Cody Rhodes comes back. We were sitting there waiting, as the music dropped. Waiting as Seth Rollins came out, the music drops. And some people knew because of the music but I didn't know. I heard his music before, and AEW, but don't really, remember it as much. It doesn't stick with me as like all the other performers. I thought he was going to do smoking. I thought he was going to use Smoke and Mirrors. I think he should have used that. I like that better. But he didn't. He used his AEW theme music. Came out to that, and it was a amazing feeling because it was a lot to process. But one thing is for sure, and one thing is certain, is that he made WrestleMania what it was supposed to be last night. And that was give it that stupendous feel. So night one was a stupendous. Was night one stupendous? Cody Rhodes returns. We can say that was great. That was something great. So let's talk about it. I couldn't catch the replay. Peacock, you got to wait a few hours, or maybe like 2 hours to catch the whole replay. I was able to catch Stand and Deliver, most of which I wasn't really fond of, but we'll get to that. I was able to catch Stand and Deliver. But I got to catch most of the important parts of WrestleMania. So, as far as the show is concerned, what happened, what was done on the show, what happened, I enjoyed night one. I definitely enjoyed night one. Bianca Belair beats Becky Lynch. I'm glad. I'm satisfied. I'm content. But there is something else that happened at WrestleMania that I was very happy about. And I'm quite sure those of you who know me, I am not a big fan of certain performers. But again, I am one who can be won over if the performance is right. If the performance is right from the wrestler. If you are a wrestler who can give me great performance, give me a great character, I can be won over. Bianca Belair wins her match against Becky Lynch in amazing fashion. She was thrown to the turnbuckle. She backflips off the turnbuckle. Reverses, I believe, a grab from Becky Lynch, picks her up, KOD, drops her, and she is now the new Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. It happened the way it was supposed to happen. She was supposed to win. It makes sense. Bianca Belair being champion, we need her as champion. Becky Lynch as heel has not really been doing right for me. The only way I feel like Becky Lynch can redeem herself is by going face again. Becky Lynch needs to be a face. She is a face. Becky, you are a face, not a heel. You're not a heel, my dear. You're not a heel. And that's a good thing because a lot of performers are not good heels. But the fact that you are a good face is even better because people want to cheer for you. And most people want people to cheer for them. I don't know why Becky would want to go heel. She was a little afraid of her face, but her face projection. But I guess it was to boost Bianca's face character. But Bianca Belair. Let's talk Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair has had two great WrestleMania matches. Her match between Sasha Banks again stands as one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all times. This match here, again, Becky Lynch made sure that she gave you a good match as a heel, and that she did. I enjoyed it. It was a good match. I definitely enjoyed it a whole lot. Great match. Um, Here we go. So, all right. So, Becky Lynch is the new women's champion, women's Raw champion. And I'm happy about it. It went the way it was supposed to go. I couldn't take another Becky Lynch title reign. Not for me. Sorry. Couldn't do it. I don't think she was doing good as a heel. Personally. Didn't think she was doing good as a heel. But a face turn, well, a face turn, I should say, is something that's needed. I'm just getting ready to just post up a picture real quickly of something that happened last night that made me happy. Not only did it make me happy, but it was actually, it was pretty good all together. I could actually say it was pretty good. I was quite content with the results of this match. But yes. Who's the cat and dog? Who's that? Facebook user cat. No, what's that? All right, so definitely happy about what happened with Bianca Belair. All right. Oh, because my cat, she was on my arm. Yes, she does that. They both do it. I have a boy cat and a girl cat. They like to be on live for some reason. They want to be seen, I guess. I'm gonna get to it. I'm just trying to post up a picture before I get into what I want to get into. The Usos. Uso crazy. Usos retain their WWE Tag Team Championship belts. I called it. I said they would, and they did. I'm happy for it. Again, I'm sorry. Angela Duca, he did call out Cody Rhodes. He predicted, he said Cody would be at Mania. He called it. Cody was there. I didn't know if he would be, but he's there. He was there. All right. Usos win they retain the tag championships. Rick Boones injures his knee trying to beat John Cena. Putting two wrestlers on his back and busting his knee like an old man. You know them old men when they got bad knees? Rick Boones right now got bad knees. Sensitive knees. Rick Boones tries to beat John Cena. He's gonna be walking down that ramp like Stone Cold with them knee braces on soon. If he keeps trying to do stuff like that, we know you're a strong guy, my man, but wasn't working for you. But Rick Boones, but good match between the Usos and Shinsuke Nakamura. William Shredder says Stone Cold KO match was fire. He says was fire. We'll get to that, William, but it was a good match. It was better than what I expected, and I'm glad it did not meet my expectations because what I expected was a lot less, and we got a lot more, and I was happy for that. Very happy for that because, anyway, let me just get to here because I'm going through the highlights of the matches. I'm sorry, the highlights of the events. Usos versus Rick Boones and what's the guy name? Yeah, Rick Boones and Shinsuke Nakamura. Well, let's get to it. I'll get to it. I just need to make sure I have some images up because I want to post it up. But anyway, good match. Great match between those guys. So Rick Boone's, I believe, is injured right now. Reportedly, he's going to be out of action for a while because he really, really, really hurt himself. And they were saying that he really hurt himself. And they had to carry him out. Well, he had to be carried out, so. But which sucks, but which sucks, the guys, he was getting some big notoriety as far as the performer is concerned, and now he is being put to the back of the line right now because of this particular injury, which sucks. But yes. But let's get to it, though. I want to get to the conversation. William Stratter, you definitely mentioned Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let's talk about it. Because there wasn't really much to say about the Shinsuke Nakamura match other than the fact that it was, I just knew that the Usos was going to win because I believe that Roman's going to win. I don't think Roman's going to lose that belt. But if Roman does lose the belt, it is what it is. I think that what Kayla was saying before was that what's that guy's name? Roman may be the one to win, Money in the Bank. And after Brock beats him for the belt, maybe the one, that cashes in and takes the belt off of Roman. But yeah, just trying to get a pitch up real quick before I get into this conversation about Stone Cold Steve Austin. For some reason, it's taking so long to find this stupid image. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So it won't scale over through. All right. Here we go. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens. Stone Cold versus Kevin Owens. My expectations. I'm glad that this match did not meet what I was expecting. Now, what I was expecting from this match was for Kevin Owens to come out, talk his trash. Stone Cold comes out behind him. They start going back and forth in conversation, get into an argument of words. Stone Cold stuns him, drinks his beer, hops back on his ATV, drives up the ramp. That's not what happened here. That is not what happened. We did not get the old Stone Cold stun, the beer bash, and a drive up the ramp. Oh, no, that's not what we got here. Facebook user says, so it was an actual match. Facebook user asks, was it an actual match? Wasn't an actual match? My friend, it was. And I'm glad that this match did not meet my expectation. In fact, the match was good enough that I sat back and at the end of the match, I said, you know what? That was actually pretty decent. It was pretty good. It wasn't like, the best Stone Cold Steve Austin match you could have gotten or one of the best that he's had. But for what it was, for where he was as a performer who hadn't wrestled in 19 years, and, to give us something, especially having his leg injury, neck injury and stuff like that and resting up for most of the time and then, more than likely getting that ring rust off him, it was a good match. It was good. It was good. It gave you what you want, and that was a match. You got a match with Stone Cold. Stone Cold even actually hit you. He even gave us 3 suplexes. He gave us 3 suplexes. He gave us some Irish whips. Most of them, a lot of Irish whips, but it was a good match. It was good. He took some bumps. So again, so the match felt a little bit more authentic. It didn't feel like it was, as choreographed, as like choreographed to his injuries as some older wrestlers are, but it was good. It was good. It was, I put it to you like this: if you check out the match, you won't be disappointed. You'll be like, okay, okay. I got a show. I got a show. But you could feel, but one thing I did notice was that they paced it right. They paced the match right. When they start, actually what happened was they were talking, and Kevin Owens challenged him to a match, but not just a match, a nose hold bar match. And it was a nose hold bar match. They were fighting around the arena, which was even which was pretty smart, because in the ring, it's almost like you're forced to be focused on as far as all the moves that you have to do. Like, it's like if you're just in the ring, everybody's focused on this, focused on the ring. So it's like you got to do Irish whips, and you got to do something that's a little bit more, with a little bit more pizzazz. You know what I'm saying? You got it, because it's like you just in one concentrated area. But in a what's it called, nose hold bar match, you can throw the person around and move around and use objects to your advantage, so that way you're not forced to do a whole bunch of wrestling moves, which was smart. I thought it was it was well thought out. If we do a nose hold bar match, you can use things instead of having to do a lot of heavy lifting, like tossing me around and throwing me. You can use, the chair. You can use, the ring post. You just do Irish whips. You could do some clotheslines here and there. You don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting. Where in the ring, you got to do heavy lifting because it's in the ring. It's just formed around wrestling. So that was smart. So we got a match, right? And you could tell they paced themselves a little. They were pacing themselves in the beginning, because Austin, again, his knees are shot. He has sensitive knees. His knees are shot. You could tell, because he didn't even have the same strut like he usually has. And he walked out to the ring. They were talking. Kevin Owens challenged him to a match. Stone Cold accepted. So I'm like, all right, he accepted. So I'm like, all right. So before the match starts, right, they're standing in the ring, and I'm like, he going to stun him, and the match is going to be over, and this is it. Nah, that's not what happened. The match started, and they just start brawling. Like, they going like, boom. They just, throwing bombs at each other. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, this is going to go somewhere. I'm like, all right, this ain't going to go nowhere. He's going to stun him, and the match is going to be over. No. They start throwing bombs at each other. Stone Cold throws him to the turnbuckle. He starts hitting them with the mud stomp. Mud stomping, of course, it wasn't as fast as it usually is, but he's older, But he does the mud stomping. He stomps him, but he kind of takes the time. He puts a little swag on it, because he kicks him, boom. And then he pauses, he looks at the crowd, then he kicks him, boom. Then he pauses, looks at the crowd, and kicks him, boom. He pauses, looks at the crowd, then he just, start working him with the foot. Get this mud stomping. And then, that was it. Then, he did a few mud stompings, throws him out the ring. Stone Cold throws him to the no, I'm sorry. He throws Stone Cold to the barricade, and then they were just kind of brawling all over the arena. Then, Stone Cold hit him with some suplexes. He hit Stone Cold with some suplexes. Stone Cold hit him with clothesline. They used some things. It was a good match. I'm sorry. It was a good match. It was a real good match. It was very, very, it was good. It was good. And it was Stone Cold's last match. So we think. But you could tell Stone Cold's in no shape to be having a bunch of matches. But if Stone Cold does come back up, come back to WWE and has one match at WrestleMania where he can pace himself like that and do that every year, I wouldn't mind it. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind if Legends did that at WrestleMania. I think they should do stuff like that. I think that's a great idea, to have a legend come back every WrestleMania, like once a WrestleMania, but a legend who is in good shape, not no. I mean, you got the old flabby legends who come back, and it's like, all right, cool, it's good to see you, kind of give you your roses again, and appreciate what you've done, but not in a capacity where, it's just like, all right, man, you need to hang this up, like Ultimate Warrior, like before Ultimate Warrior retired, like, when he came back, he was like, he had no muscle tone, he had nothing, like he was just like, oh, like he was like small as me. I'm not that small, but he was, he's bigger. But anyway, that's my point. My point is just that, certain legends, and Stone Cold came out, he looked good. He was in shape. He was in good shape. He appeared to have a little bit of a beer belly. It wasn't that noticeable. I think that's the reason why he kept the black shirt on most of the time. But he's an old man. He probably ain't got no abs right now. Not a lot of older men don't have abs. I think Austin's in his 50s. That's dope. I definitely thought it was going to be a bunch of reverses, then a mud hole stomping into a Stone Cold Stunner. It was an actual match, bro. It was an actual match. It was a match. I was shocked. I was shocked. It was really an actual match. It was really good. So you think there's a possibility he might have another match with someone? Someone soon. I think so. I think you could tell Austin missed it. You can tell, like it was the expression on his face. You could tell he missed it. He didn't try to show. He didn't show much of emotion, other than the fact that he was happy to be back. But he's Austin. Austin keeps his composure of just being, really, real rugged. But it was good. Flair confirmed. Flair not confirmed. Oh God. Yo, Flair got the crazy thing about Flair is that WWE put together this whole retirement ceremony for him. All right, so he has this great match with Shawn Michaels. They put together this whole retirement ceremony for him. Then, they come down to the ring and do all this stuff for him. And then about like 2 months later, a month later, he turns up in TNA and wrestles again. It's like, why? And he doesn't wrestle for like a one night thing. Like he was wrestling for like a few months, So it's like, okay, it's like that was all for nothing. But Shawn and Stone Cold's retirements made sense. When Shawn came back to wrestle, I didn't think it was a bad thing. I just think that people was like, if you're going to retire, stay retired. But Shawn really retired. Like he really was away from the ring for like, I think it was it like 5 years or something like that, 5-6 years, and then he came back. But I think Shawn did need a little bit more sympathy because of the simple fact that Shawn had to take off like I think 4 years from his career after he had hurt his back. So once he hurt his back, in that casket match against the Undertaker, and he had a bad back, and he had to give up the belt, and he lost that belt at WrestleMania to Austin. From there, I think from like 4 years, he was in recovery from his back, and then he was able to return. And when he returned, I was happy. I was like, Shawn is really back. Like he's really back. I was happy because one of the reasons why I started watching WWE when I got back into wrestling was to see Shawn. Because Shawn and Brett, I remember Shawn and Brett. Shawn was one of my favorite, partially one of my favorite wrestlers because I used to like the Rockers when I was a kid. So when I knew Shawn was whatchamacallit, was there in WWE, I was like, all right, cool. But Shawn was one of the people I wanted to see. Brett was one of the people I wanted to see. But at the time, Brett had left. And Brett had like literally left. So I wanted but anyway, Austin retired. He was gone for like 19 years. So, again, I'm glad it was a good match. I'm happy for it. You guys should check it out when you guys get the chance. It's a great match. But let's get to this. Because this is the thing. This match here, it's so crazy because I'm gonna honestly say this was a great WrestleMania, and I'm gonna tell you why. I couldn't stand Charlotte Flair. I could not stand Charlotte Flair simply because she was getting most of the opportunities that some other women on the roster should also get. But nonetheless, Charlotte, I have to give credit where credit is due. Charlotte is a top performer. She's a great performer. She's one of the best. If I can give you 5 great performers on that roster that have proved to give us great performances and say, oh, these are like the 5 best wrestlers on this roster will give you or have given us great matches, on that roster while on the main roster, Charlotte is one of them. playing her part as a heel. She's definitely one of them. And again, my frustration has always been Charlotte is always in the title picture. But in this instant, in this moment at WrestleMania, Charlotte Flair's character actually was so much so justified in the fact that I was happy she won. Not only was I happy, but I cheered in my heart for her because she saved us from another abysmal Ronda Rousey title reign. Really quick, Facebook user says, what happened that made him hurt his back in that match? Oh, okay, so with Shawn Michaels, so he was wrestling against Undertaker. If you watch that match, the casket match between Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, Undertaker threw him for Irish whip outside the ring, and when he flipped out the ring, so you had the ring here, and then you had the casket right here. Like, so here's the ring, right? Here's the ring, and then right here, here's the casket. So when Shawn came out the ring, when he flipped over, his back, where the casket is right here, his lower back landed on the casket, the tip of the casket. It didn't look like it really like hit him, but it really affected him. And that injury is what caused him to have a bad back injury. It was his lower back, and that really affected him. That really hurt him. And that's how he hurt his back. So when you watch the match between him and Stone Cold, you can see him holding his back. But even after that injury, even in that match, what I should be saying is even in that match, when he hit his back, as the match is going on, you can see him holding his back, like he's holding his lower back. And then from there, that's where you begin to see the stem of the lower back injury. But that's what happened with Shawn. I remember because Jay was the first person. Jay McMahon was the first person to point that out to me. He was like, "Oh, that's where Shawn Michaels hurt his back on the edge of the casket." And he showed me. He's like, "I'm gonna show it to you." And he showed me the match, and he showed me where he hurt his back. Jay McMahon, thank you, sir. He's the guy that actually pointed that out to me. This because he was like, heavy WWE. Jay was like heavy WWE, heavy. I was heavy WCW. But anyways, yeah, it sucks. It sucked. What was I saying? Charlotte Flair. In this moment, my wife, she's a big fan of Charlotte Flair. Esco is a big fan of Charlotte Flair. There's only two people I know is a fan of Charlotte Flair. But at this time in wrestling, I am a fan of Charlotte Flair. This victory over her, this victory that she has over, what's the girl name? Ronda Rousey. God damn it. I am a fan of Charlotte Flair now. Charlotte Flair, you have made me a believer. You guys have masterfully found a way to win people over to make them like you. Well, make them like Charlotte, I should say. And the thing is that when you build characters, it's like you got to give us a reason to like this person. You have to have some reason, like make them the better of someone else, right? And that's how they become the more likable person. But not only that, but make them the salvation of the storyline. And she was the salvation of the storyline because she saved us from another Ronda Rousey title reign. Ronda Rousey's character, Ronda Rousey has no charisma. Well, okay. Ronda Rousey does not have a lot of verbal charisma. I don't know. She doesn't have a lot of charisma. Okay. Her charisma does not translate in the character. There's the people who can get up, give you pizzazz, you know what I'm saying? They'll give you some good insults, some good personality. They'll give you great personality. Sorry. That's where charisma comes from, is the portrayal of your personality, how your personality pops to people, how it, that, right? Rhonda doesn't have that. Rhonda just goes out there and she tries, but it doesn't pop. Like Rhonda still needs to work on her charisma. That's what made Angle work. Angle had charisma. Angle had charisma. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you. Exactly. Thank you, Charlotte. And Charlotte, you are one of my favorites now. I mean, you always been one of my favorite female villains. Like, I mean, you always been one of my favorites, and I just hated how they always gave you the title when it should have went to other people. But nonetheless, this made a great moment because it was almost like in Charlotte winning this match, it was almost like Vince was saving himself from himself. It's weird, right? Because the Vince McMahon we know for the last few months, he's been he would have put that belt right on Ronda. You know what I mean? He would have, she's gonna bring us money, she's from the UFC. We gotta put the belt on her, we worked this character. But to have Charlotte win, it was almost like Vince was like, this is what I want to do. And then you had the other Vince with the black hood looking him in the mirror, was like, that's what you shouldn't do, And that's what he didn't do. He didn't put the belt on Ronda. And Ronda doesn't have the belt. I'm glad. But however, we do have Money in the Bank. My prayer is that this is Ronda. Like my prayer is that Ronda was only working the Angle to WrestleMania and then she leaves. I hope she doesn't go to Money in the Bank and then she needs to come up with a gimmick. She does. She doesn't have a personality, honestly. She's just Ronda Rousey. She is, right. And I think, and it's fine. Her being just Ronda Rousey is actually an okay thing. But what Ronda Rousey needs to tap into is when she spends time with her husband, right? And they're having fun and she's giving personality. When she's hanging out with her friends and she's that Ronda Rousey that's, again, it's those quirks that works with your friends that make your friends like you, that you now make available to people in the world. And that's what make people gravitate to you. And that's where your charisma stems from. It's the quirks of you that people like about you. And you just maximize it. And that's you. And that's how you shine to the world. And that's what Rhonda needs to tap into. And she probably has somebody trying to help her do that, but for what we got, it's like, ugh. It's like even when they were like doing the whatchamacallit, the not the vignettes, but the giving us the B-roll and they were playing her voice, and she was like, I'm gonna make you tap out at WrestleMania. Like you could even hear the lack of enthusiasm in an inflection in her voice. You can hear the lack of charisma in her voice. I was just like, oh my God. I was like, and when they were playing the vignette that had, that was showing, Charlotte versus Ronda, over the course of, feuding, whatever. And I heard Ronda's voice. I was just like, I pray they don't put the belt on this woman. Please don't put the belt on her. I said, don't do it. Don't do it. And I'm glad they didn't. I'm so glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't put the belt on her. So it was funny, man. I'm just like, yo, you could hear the lack of charisma in her voice. I'm gonna make you tap out at WrestleMania. I was just like, he's like, you gotta focus on the tones, You're like, I'm gonna make you tap out at WrestleMania. You gotta, tones. You gotta know your tones, and you gotta know when to say it. Say it and then slow down your words. Know your tones, know your pitches. She probably needs a vocal coach. That's probably what she needs. And I'm not saying that like in a bad way. I'm just saying like because Ronda probably doesn't know her tones. Because and the thing about Ronda, and it's not and I'm not saying it's like it's just that I'm quite sure Ronda probably looks at this stuff and just probably looks and says, I need to work on some things. But a vocal coach will teach you, even like a singing coach, right? A singing coach will teach you the tones and inflections. Like that was Roman's problem. Roman had the same problem. Roman was very monotoned, right? He gave you one tone And then as he began to get comfortable in the his role as the tribal, no, I'm sorry, as he began to do shoot promos with John Cena, he expressed natural tone. And you could tell like the wrestlers nervous when they get out there, and they're just like, they're giving you like one tone. But when you express natural tone, you have pitches. Sometimes you go high, you go low. You're responding. Your emotions are going through. You're going through the motions of what's being said to you and how you're responding to it, and your words are expressing the emotions of what you're feeling based upon what this person told you. So, if a person insulted you, you probably feel offended, mad, and you're angry. I mean, sorry, you're mad, um uncomfortable, so angry and uncomfortable, you're gonna hear those emotions in your words, you know and it's just like when you just go out there and be like, somebody insults you and you're just like, I'm gonna kick your ass, and you just say it like all low, and it's like, and it's just like, so anyway, I just think that's what she needs. But anyway, Charlotte Flair has saved us from a Ronda Rousey title reign. I'm happy for it. I'm glad. I was really, really shocked, and I was definitely happy about this moment. This was definitely one of my favorite moments. By the way, Stone Cold and Kevin Owens closed the show, which was a good thing. It was a closer. I thought Ronda and Charlotte was going to close the show, but they didn't close the show, and I'm glad. Not necessarily because, well, yeah, I'm glad because it was, but they didn't close the show. We had both of the women's heavyweight title matches on night one, which I'm shocked about. But again, night one was good. Night one was good. Night one was good. I enjoyed night one. But yes, this one right here, this match right here, Charlotte is definitely one of my heroes. She saved us from Ronda Rousey title run, and I'm just glad that they didn't. I'm just glad they didn't put the belt on her, and I hope they don't. Um, so I'm not sure if any of you guys seen Stand and Deliver, but I did. The Zigzag has retained his NXT World Heavyweight Champion. Not only that, but we got the old Dolph Ziggler, which was a long time coming. I'm glad Dolph Ziggler took off those stupid pants. Pause. I'm glad he did. I'm so glad. Um, the likeness of Dolph Ziggler was reminding me, or always reminded me of Shawn Michaels. But what I liked about Dolph Ziggler was Dolph Ziggler, you could tell that he had some influence from Shawn, but he wasn't quite Shawn. He wasn't like Shawn. And that's what I liked about Ziggler. That's one of the things I loved about Ziggler. Even to his ring attire, it gave you some reminiscence of Shawn, but you didn't you if you thought about Shawn, but you didn't say this is Shawn. He's trying to be like Shawn. Other than the fact that he did the super kick, you know, and did the famous, but that was it. But for most time, for the most part, most of his moves set, the big DDT that he used to do, I loved it. The chokehold, standing, the handstand chokehold while he's holding you on the floor. Um, you know, the elbow drop he used to do, right? 10 elbow drops, you know, and then the zigzag. I love the zigzag. I think he should stick to the zigzag. I think his super kick should be a signature move, but I think he should finish most of his matches with zigzags, not super kicks. I like the fact that he does the sweet chin music. Um, because again, Sean is retired. So who else better than Ziggler? But I think that it would have came off better if Dolph Ziggler would have did it a little bit later. But he did it. But nonetheless, anyway, let me just get to this. Stand and Deliver was pretty good. What's the guy name? Rick Grimes. Not Rick Grimes. I said Rick Grimes. Cameron Grimes. Rick Grimes is from Walking Dead. Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes is the North American champion. I don't know why, but he is. Should he have been champion? No. It's weird. Everything at WrestleMania night 1, everything that was supposed to happen happened, and it happened well, which is good. That's good. WWE, stay in his vein, please. Anyway, Cameron Grimes won the North American title. What are those guys? MSK beat Imperium for the tag titles. Mandy Rose retained her title. And Raquel Gonzalez and the other girl, forgot her name, they won the women's titles. But Dolph Ziggler, the Zigzag, retained his world title. And let me tell you how he retained his title, because this was a great match. It's a good match. It was a good match. If you see any match, if you go to watch any match on NXT Stand and Deliver, I'm going to be honest with you, Stand and Deliver was the ladder match was compared to all the other matches they've had, ladder matches, compared to all of, NXT ladder matches, this one definitely wasn't like the best or up there, or it doesn't compare. But anyways, but this match here, if you go to watch Stand and Deliver, if you watch any other match, if you go to watch any match, go watch this match. Make this the reason why you watch Stand and Deliver. Truth be told, be honest with you. It was the best match, pretty much. It was not only, but it was good in a lot of aspects. The fact that you had, again, Ziggler the Vet, what's his name? Braun, as the New Jack trying to regain his title. They made a right call with allowing Dolph Ziggler to keep the belt, because I think Braun should go up to the main roster. I think Breakker should definitely go to the main roster. It's time for him to go. I think they should let Dolph Ziggler work this, and unless they're going to have, they should have Braun. Oh yeah, I've almost forgot. LA Knight, the two best matches, Braun Breakker versus Dolph Ziggler, LA Knight and Gunther. LA Knight and Gunther need to be on the main roster. If they take Braun Breakker and put him on the main roster, they need to work an angle between Dolph Ziggler and LA Knight for the title, or Dolph Ziggler and Gunther for the title. I don't think they should do Gunther just now, because I know they're gonna have Gunther win. Gunther, I definitely see. So I see it with Walter. Something special with this guy. He needs to be on the main roster. Gunther and LA Knight need to be on the main roster. I don't know why. I don't even know why. LA Knight is even there on a whatchamacallit. Walter should be on the main roster now. I don't know. He was UK champ. For like 8 years, but he should be on the main roster. But anyway, two best matches out of Stand and Deliver. It was even a point, even watching the Stand and Deliver match between LA Knight and Gunther, that you were just kind of like, this doesn't even feel like it's part of the same show. Like, it felt different. Like, but it was a great match. I enjoyed it. Good morning, Kayla. And it felt like it was, two different matches. I mean, it felt like it was like the match didn't kind of feel like the show. That's how good it was. Even the same. I felt the same way about Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker. It felt like when you watch the match, you kind of like after watching the whole pay-per-view, and then when you get to those two matches, you're just like, this don't even feel like it's part of the like it's like it's part of the show, but you feel like it's something else. But anyway, let me just get to this. I'm gonna get to this, and then I'm gonna be closing out because I'm over the hour mark. I just want to do a pop in real quick. But here we go. Braun Breaker versus Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler retains the title. So this is how the match go. I'm going to tell you how cool it was, and you've seen it, right? So Dolph Ziggler comes out. They're in the ring, they're fighting, and Braun Breaker, of course, he's a little bit more dominant. He's kind of knocking Dolph Ziggler around or whatever, and he's knocking him around, and after knocking him around a few times, Braun Breaker goes for his finisher, goes for his special. And after going for his special, I'm sorry, it's finisher. He's about to pin Dolph Ziggler to win the belt. Bobby Roode comes and he grabs his leg. He grabs Braun Breaker's leg. The ref sees it and proceeds to kick out Bobby Roode. Dolph Ziggler goes into the corner, the turnbuckle on the far right side, the corner, and takes away the middle padding, the padding of the turnbuckle. Takes away the padding. Ref doesn't see it. They continue on the match. There's some back and forth between Braun and Dolph, but Braun is looking a little bit more dominant. Whatchamacallit? Kayla says Stand and Deliver was better than I expected. It was. Well, I only like 2 matches. Everything else I was like, eh. So, Braun Breaker, Dolph Ziggler going back and forth the match, right? Mind you, in my mind, I'm sitting there saying he just removed that middle turnbuckle. That's his ace in the hole, right? This is ace, right? That's his ace right there. Braun Breaker is dominating, but Dolph Ziggler, again, they're going back and forth, I should say. But Braun is kind of like, Braun Breaker is getting those power moves off. And it was good. He hit the Frankenstein off the top rope. It was dope. Dolph Ziggler caught him with the flying elbow. Shawn Michaels flying elbow. And Braun Breaker caught him with like 3 spears. But one of the spears he caught him with was out of a reversal. And he was about to finish Dolph off. He caught him with like 2 spears in a row. It was one point he caught him like 2 spears in a row. And like Dolph is finished at this point. He caught Dolph with the spear. Then he caught him with his finisher. And Bobby Roode comes out again. Now Bobby Roode is kicked out, but he comes back out. They don't cause a DQ. The ref allows the match to continue to go on, right? Mind you, I'm just like, yo, this is his ace, right? Dolph Ziggler. So anyway, get to the end of the match. When Dolph Ziggler comes out and he, interrupts or he, causes interference. Bobby Roode causes interference. Braun Breaker catches him with another spear, right? He catches him with another spear, and then he goes to, put him in his finisher. Dolph Ziggler rakes his eyes, gets down, pushes his head to that middle turnbuckle that's been missing the whole match, and pins him 1, 2, 3. It was a great setup. Like stuff like that, we need to see more on the main roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it was great storytelling. It was the way it was told. It was like how they told that story in the ring, because it was like you seen him do it, but it's how he used it later to ensure that he would get a victory. And it was great. It was great. I loved it. Dolph Ziggler, we got the old Dolph Ziggler. All he need to do is, put the moose back in his head with the stringy curly hair, and we got the old Ziggler back. And he took off those stupid pants with those frills, with the frills on the side, and we'll be moving forward with the new Dolph Ziggler. But I like this. Stand and Deliver was good. It was a good show. I definitely wasn't a big fan of most of the other matches. I was like, but Braun Breaker, if you go to watch Stand and Deliver, the 2 matches I definitely suggest you do watch out of any 2 matches is LA Knight versus Walter, which was a good one. That was good. That was really good. I enjoyed that one. And Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker. Great. All right, guys. That does it for me today and for us. I thank you guys for joining us for another edition of Wrestling Talks and Thoughts. Again, we go live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. and every Sunday at 12. If you guys are catching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Give us a comment in the comment section below. If you guys are catching us on Facebook Live, drop a comment in the comment section below. Give us a thumbs up. Share so that you can share with your wrestling buddies so they can come on, comment, tell us what they thought about pay-per-views, Monday Night Raws. If we're talking about AEW, if we're talking about TNA, if we're talking about anything in wrestling in particular, they can join us and have this conversation, and then, more than likely join us on the show and talk wrestling with us. Again, so it is my time. I am going to enjoy the rest of this WrestleMania weekend to find out what is going to happen at the end of this WrestleMania. Will Roman Reigns be double champ, or will Brock Lesnar be double champ? Who will be unified champion? Join us tonight after WrestleMania as we go live, and we're going to talk about WrestleMania Night 2. Right after WrestleMania, join us live. More than likely, I'll be set up, but I want you guys to join us so that you guys can enjoy it, so we can be in a conversation. If you guys want to talk about Night 1, talk about Night 2, we'll talk about just all of WrestleMania all together, what we thought about the show, first part, second part. Did they really need 2 parts? Was the 2 parts worth it? Honestly, in my opinion, I'm enjoying this because I like the fact that 2 big pay-per-views are consuming my weekend, and I have those 2 pay-per-views to look big pay-per-views to look forward to. I enjoyed it. It's making my weekend a lot more sweeter. So I like the 2-night WrestleMania. I love it. Again, join us tonight, guys, as we review WrestleMania Night 2. Again, I'm your host, Saheem the Dream, signing off. I will see you guys later. Peace.